Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are from an upcoming new play production entitled Squatters of the Red Earth. Laura Hudson Kittrell. Laura, welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And Rip Russell, back. You were, we talked like a month ago.
Seems I was just here. Yeah, a month ago for a different adventure.
We're getting Rip a sleeping bag back in the KCCK bunkhouse.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can just trot him out whenever we need an interview.
Yep, I'm here for you.
This is a brand new play by playwright Mary Swander, an Iowan who is a prolific playwright on lots of different topics. And man, there are so many moving parts in this, literally, because there are puppets involved. I don't even know where to start. So, Rip, I'm going to let you set the stage.
Well, Mary Swander is a former English professor and poet laureate of Iowa, and she's been a buddy for a long time. We've been able to collaborate on a number of projects, but this is called Squatters on the Red Earth, and basically it tells the story of the German contingent that came over and sort of infiltrated the Amana Colonies where the Meskwaki Indians were. They were known as the, and now I'm drawing a blank on the name. Inspirationists, of course, Inspirationists. And they actually got along quite well with the Meskwaki Indians, and it wasn't until other colonists came over from Europe that started kind of the big displacement of the Meskwaki Indians and the other Native Americans in the area. But it tells the story of their relationship, and it was very mutual. They learned a lot from each other. They helped each other out, all in the mid-1800s. So it's a wonderful little play. It's about an hour long, and I play the narrator, and Laura is a musician in the piece.
This is really a piece of Iowa history that has not been... That is largely unknown.
This is a story that really, Mary didn't know about it until it was offered to her by the woman who worked on our scenery, Shelley Buffalo, and she said, "Why don't you tell this story?" And that was they didn't want a story about death and what happened to the Meskwaki later. They wanted something that was uplifting, and this was the story that Shelley offered. And Mary thought, "This is really interesting. I had never heard of this before." So.
And the story is told, like you said, Rip, you're the narrator, but it's told through music, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But then I know that you've got actual students from the Meskwaki School in Tama, Toledo, who are going to be doing some puppetry work.
Yep, they're going to be joining us for these first initial shows, which will be June 9th and 10th at the Amana Performing Arts Center, and then the following day on the 10th at the Wieting Opera House in Toledo. But yeah, we have a group of 7 kids that are from the Meskwaki settlement, and they're going to be doing a variety of things on stage as well. They're going to be doing some of the recitation from some of the historical figures of the time and some people from the Meskwaki community. And they'll also be working shadow puppets behind the scenes, and also some live action puppets sort of running across the stage. We're utilizing, this is really cool, Dennis, we're utilizing an old-time cranky, which is a form of puppeteering, really, but it's a big wooden cranky. What it is, it's a Tyvek, and I will operate it. I'll pull it from one side so it'll come across the front, and it'll be backlit, so there'll be images coming across the Tyvek
it's like a giant scroll, and just
giant scroll. Yeah. So that will be really interesting. And there's 17 different scenes. Right. And so as I tell the story, I will be utilizing the cranky as well to have these illustrations come by for the audience to see. And then the kids with the puppeteering, they'll be doing some shadow puppets on that screen from behind, and then in addition to some things, little few things in front.
Tell me about the music, Laura.
The music, Mary asked me if I would compose some of the music, and then there are a few songs that were already traditional songs or songs, old German hymn or some things like that. But she gave me the words that she wanted included in the songs, and then I put them to music, and she said, "Oh, don't worry if they don't fit. Just change them." And I thought, "But this is Mary Swander. I can't change her words." But she was very gracious about it, and just encouraged me to do that. So we've come up with I don't remember how many songs that were actually ones that I wrote the music to, but it may be about 6 of them, and then the other songs, which there's probably 3 or 4, were already in existence. One of the things that's been the challenge is I had to learn how to sing in German, in French, and in Spanish. And the only one I have any experience with really is Spanish. So that was really interesting.
What about the instrumentation?
The instrumentation is primarily is primarily a cappella, and part of that is because my guitar broke on the day we were practicing, and Mary said, "I like that. I like the sound of the a cappella." And the Inspirationists did not have accompaniment when they sang in church, so so it actually was kind of fortuitous that
Kinda
that
made
happened.
sense
Yeah.
that way, yeah.
So yeah, but the other thing for a couple of the songs I learned how to play a banjolele, which I've never played before, and it's like it plays like a ukulele, but it looks like a miniature banjo, and it sounds like a banjo. And
So
it's
5 strings then?
4 strings.
4 strings.
Yeah, just like a uke. And
Okay.
it's really interesting. It's kind of fun to play, actually.
Is it like a banjo? Is that it has kind of the percussive aspect too? Is
twang,
that
yeah, it has that
the
twang.
the drum?
And it looks
almost drum
yeah,
head?
and it looks just like a little banjo too.
Okay.
So it's kind
Oh,
of fun.
all right.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Mary just happened to have one of those.
I just happen to have a Banjolino.
Yeah. Well, when you need one, there it is.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Rip, you were also saying that this performance is going to involve Laura and also the students from the Meskwaki High School, but then
Right.
you're going to tour the thing as a solo.
Right. Then we're going to revamp the piece to be toured as a one-person play, which would be me, and we'll incorporate some recorded music, and I'll add a little bit of dialogue to what I'm already doing, which is pretty hefty, it seems to me right now. So we'll add a little bit more dialogue. I'll still utilize the cranky. I'll still do some shadow puppeteering myself from back behind it when it needs to be. And then, so it'll be a one-person
And the
show.
music will be recorded.
The
so
music will be
you'll
recorded,
be
so we'll
turning
have
it
to-
on and off too.
Yeah, we'll have to work through all of that, but it'll be a standalone piece, about an hour, that I'll be able to travel with. And we've already got some bookings in October in Maquoketa and West Liberty, and I know that the Western Iowa, a few places are looking hard at us right now. So it looks like it's going to happen, but we will have time to revamp the play into a one-person play after these initial shows in June.
As you were learning this script and learning this story, how did that make you feel as as all the details started, as a white guy?
Yeah. It made me feel really naive because I don't know. We all sort of know the Cliff Notes version of what happened to the Native Americans in this area and others, and that sort of harkens back to what Laura was saying, that Mary and Shelley Buffalo, who collaborated with this, and Shelley is from the Meskwaki settlement, they didn't want to tell the story that everybody knows, and they wanted to keep it uplifting. They didn't want to talk about the genocide and things like that. So I'm finding, and I'm doing research myself, and doing the play that I just did in the Amanas, I had that connection. So I picked up one of their newspapers the other day, and I was looking it over, and it was very fascinating. They had a big article about the 1923 flour mill and woolen mill fire 100 years ago this summer that just devastated the community at that time, because that was their livelihood. The Germans, the Inspirationists at the time. And so it was just fascinating hearing all of this this information that we either took for granted, or in my case, I just didn't know about. So it's been really inspiring.
And educational. I mean, there's a lot of things that I wasn't aware of, and my father is a historian and Iowa historian, and I had no idea.
Yep.
So.
And the Inspirationists also played a role in the return of the Meskwaki, because the Meskwaki, they were forced out.
Exactly.
Into
Right.
Oklahoma or Texas, and then made arrangements. Much later, they were able to actually repurchase some of their
Land
own
from
land.
They came back.
Yeah.
And the settlement this is the part I didn't know a lot about this,
Yeah.
but this was I knew the story of the Meskwaki coming back, but did not understand the role
Right.
that the Amana colonists played in that.
And that was the great thing about the mutualism that they were working with. And when the Meskwaki tribe were forced into another Indian settlement in Kansas, they actually did come back, and they wanted to buy some of their land, which the state allowed them to, but they didn't know anything about money, of course. So the Inspirationists loaned them the money to do that, and that's the way they worked together. And then they trapped and sold furs to pay them back and things like that. And we talk about that in the play. And it was a barter system. They traded one service for another, and they got along very well, and it's the way it should be. So it was wonderful.
What a fascinating story. In a parallel universe where settlers came, and instead of driving out the native people, coexisted with them.
And there was plenty
if
of that.
only.
Yeah, there was
And
plenty
they were similar in a lot of ways. They each wanted to be kind of left alone. They each had their own religion, and they didn't force their religion onto anyone else. So it's like, we'll let you be, you let us be. we'll get along just fine. I mean, that's what I mean, it just states, the case it should be made for today,
Yeah.
It's Squatters on Red Earth at the Amana Performing Arts Center on June 9th, and then the next day performing in Toledo. Are we doing tickets at the door? How do people get tickets and stuff?
Very easy. It's first of all, these are free shows, so you can just come to the theater. The show, let me just read this here, June 9th at 8 p.m., and that's at the Amana Performing Arts Center in Amana. So you can, and it's a big space, but if you know you're coming, you can always email this email. It's agartsoffice, AGARTS office, all one word, at gmail.com to reserve a ticket, and that is for either location. But it is free, so you can reserve them at that email or just show up. And the show on Friday, as I said, was 8 p.m. at Amana, and the shows the next day are 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. in Toledo.
So two shows in Toledo.
2 shows in Toledo the following day.
Right.
Okay. Well, congratulations on on bringing this project to life, getting it started.
Yeah.
This is almost kind of the preview run.
Yeah,
It's
in a
kind
way
of like
it
that,
is.
yeah. And I also want to mention that our director is Brant Bowler he's the head of the Department of Theater Arts at William Penn College in Oskaloosa. And Monica Leo is making the puppets. She's from Eulenspiegel Puppet Theater. And tell me Michelle's last name.
And Michelle Michelle Payne
yes.
Hins.
Yep.
Right.
She did our costumes.
Right.
And they've been wonderful to work with. Brant Bowman down in Oskaloosa.
It's been a small and really
a puppeteer
expert
himself.
group.
It's Squatters on Red Earth, June 9th and 10th. Again, can you read that email? And
Yes.
it'll actually, if you're watching the video, it'll be underneath us, even as we're talking about. But the email, if you want to reserve a ticket, you can email.
And that's agartsoffice at gmail.com. And again, it's AGARTS office at gmail.com.
Well, thanks again for coming in and sharing the story of this, and hope the opening goes well, and that you can get everything under control, all your various engineering
it'll be-
puppetry roles.
He has a
for
couple arms to grow before next fall.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. But I'm looking forward to this collaboration here in a couple weeks.
Thanks for being with me.
Thank you, Dennis.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio many weekdays at 10:30, or download the podcast, watch or listen on your own schedule at kcck.org/culture, or using your favorite podcast player. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.